71% of our planet is made up of the oceans. In total, the oceans hold 96.5% of all Earth's water. But if you recall, the ocean is made of salt water, not fresh water. Thinking back to our childhood, when you would go and visit the beach and go swimming and accidentally take a huge gulp of water, you'd immediately regret it. Salt water, just like the name says, is made up of salt and H2O. While it isn't necessarily dangerous to consume, big amounts are. You're probably thinking, how can salt water be dangerous to consume? We drink water and eat salt all the time. This is true, but salt water is still different. Seawater has a bigger concentration of salt than our body is supposed to process. According to the NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, human kidneys can only make urine that's less salty than salt water. Therefore, to get rid of all the excess salt taken in by drinking seawater, you have to urinate more than you drank. Eventually, you'll die of dehydration even as you become thirstier. This leaves the major question of, how do we go about drinking water then? With basically 97% of water being drinkable, that leaves about 3%. Well, kind of. 2% of that is frozen in glaciers, so really we have about 1% of drinkable water. 1%? I know that it sounds crazy that we're only able to drink about 1% of Earth's water, which leads to the further question, where does that drinking water come from? There are two categories, groundwater and surface water. Penn State created an article explaining, groundwater comes from rain and snow that seeps into the ground. The water gets stored in open spaces and pores or in layers of sand and gravel known as aquifers. We use water wells or springs to harvest this water. Surface water also comes from rain and snow. It's the water that fills the rivers, lakes, and streams. Water is pumped, both from groundwater or surface water sources, into pipes and tanks. The pipes eventually lead to our homes, schools, businesses, and any place where you can turn on the tap and drink some water. So, in a way, we're relying on weather for a majority of the 1% of water we're able to consume. With climate change, relying on weather is becoming more and more dangerous, especially for places like California or Morocco, which are going through droughts. This leads to our overall question, what can we do to be able to drink in that 97%? There is a term you've probably heard before, desalination. Well, what is desalination? Pretty simple. It's the process of removing salt from seawater. This process allows us to be able to drink clean water from the ocean. There are desalination plants globally, however, there aren't enough, which we will get into. If you're interested in the topic of desalination and the future of water conservation, please keep watching and give us a thumbs up. There are two main methods to desalination, thermal desalination and reverse osmosis. To start off with, thermal desalination is when they boil water into vapor and leave the salt behind. Around 50 years ago, thermal desalination was the main source of converting the water. But the system has some blaring issues. Liquid water takes a lot of energy to convert into vapor, which if you've seen our previous videos, there is an emphasis on energy efficiency. Using more than necessary energy is a financial and environmental burden. The making of energy ends up relying on burning fossil fuels, which ends up creating pollutants and so on. There is also a notable byproduct of desalination called brine. Brine is described as a thick, goopy, saltwatery mixture. This mixture ends up being pumped back into the sea, where it ends up being on the ocean floor, destroying ecosystems by limiting oxygen and spiking salt levels. The more modern version of desalination that you may have heard of is called reverse osmosis. To explain it simply, salt water is forced through an extremely fine membrane that separates the water from the salt and other materials. The whole process is cheaper and more technologically advanced than thermal desalination. There's a need for less pressure when involving reverse osmosis, which equates to less energy, being more energy efficient. The only issue is with the plants themselves, which use a lot of energy. The water is constantly getting purified using a lot of power, and as it keeps being emphasized, power equals energy. Also, these plants cost a significant amount of money to hire workers and to be constantly generating power. However, despite all of this, there seems to be a third way under development, Neom City, which will cover 10,000 square miles of the Red Sea coast. The city has been described as a place to be able to integrate renewable and sustainable technology, creating a completely circular infrastructure. The way Neom has been described has been a civilizational revolution that puts humans first, providing an unprecedented urban living experience while preserving the surrounding nature. The whole city has been broken down according to National World. It's planned to house 9 million residents, and all basic services will be within a 5-minute walking distance. It will run on 100% renewable energy, and 95% of the land will be reserved for nature. People's health and well-being will be prioritized over transportation and infrastructure. Unlike traditional cities, according to the official Neom website, it will be a zero-car environment. Residents who live in the line will instead have access to a high-speed rail line. The aim is that no cars will improve the air quality and give people more disposable income as they're not spending it on vehicle expenses. While we're discussing this new energy-advanced city, it's because of the unique ways they're going about desalination. Instead of thermal desalination, they're going to use the same process, but with solar energy, which will use less power. They will do this through a massive hydrological sphere made of glass. The seawater enters and gets heated up and then leaves as fresh water. This new desalination dome, being so close to the Red Sea, works beautifully because there's no need for electricity and it doesn't produce any greenhouse gas emissions. The only con is using the massive pumps they need to circle it in and out the water. But this is still a massive reduction in power and pollutants, which follows the Neom City goals. As we reflect on everything discussed, a major question is still being asked. Will it succeed or not? There's a lot to be answered when it comes to the solar-powered desalination. To start off, the overall cost of pumping the water in and out. Financially, the desalination plant might as a whole end up being too pricey for technology that hasn't been used before and might not be the most effective. The technology being so brand new hasn't really been proven if it will be a reliable system. Neom has a lot of ambitions already as an overall city, with its interesting format of 110 miles long but only 200 meters wide. The city is pushing the path of what environmentalists and researchers have been aiming for, an environmentally advanced society. But the logistics seem a little fuzzy on their end. The goal is to be entirely done by 2026. They had originally started in 2020, but the pandemic pushed them back a year in development. The future seems to be coming closer and closer, and apparently in 4 years close. You've heard us discuss about the actual past processes, such as thermal and reverse osmosis. These processes still take a big amount of energy and use labor-intensive maintenance and time. It'll be interesting to see how that wraps up in a few years, and hopefully the ideas are implemented smoothly. A game changer would be if other countries also started investing in this new technology. That way, we could make water desalination a gold mine. The need of clean water will always be a complete necessity for people globally. With more and more environmental changes as we face the ramifications of climate change, it's only a ticking time bomb until we need more options fast. To wrap up this video, I want you to think about the pros and cons to desalination plants, even before we're able to realistically involve solar energy. Do you think we need to invest in more desalination plants, or are the environmental consequences too much in the grand scheme of things? Do you think the Saudi Arabian city of Neom is a good idea? Or better, do you think that Neom will work at all? We hope you enjoyed today's video and watch more of our previous content, such as why are agrivoltaics important, or nuclear waste is not the problem you think it is. Please make sure to like and subscribe.